All right, let's call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. Looks like it could be a relatively short meeting, although we do have a RFP at 10:30. 10:30. So we'll see how things play out, but we, in all likelihood, will take a recess when we finish our work and come back for the RFP at 10:30. So let's start with Attorney Ron Cross. What have you got for us today, Ron?
This is a draft, and market such, but it is of the resolution to transfer deed sale properties to the city that we talked about last week. I want you to look at that. It doesn't have the legal. Make sure I get the list complete. Right.
This is 2 pages. Okay.
Okay. So look at those, and then the legal descriptions will be on Exhibit A. I had 9, and maybe my notes were wrong. It said 10, but I wasn't sure if I had at least one or wrong.
And then we also are considering, and I talked to the folks at Building Together yesterday. There are 2 properties with structures have some, I think, some unsafe building issues, but talk to them about whether they would be interested in taking those on as continuing.
So they're not
projects.
pending. There's no unsafe building proceedings pending.
We're working through that.
Okay.
I'm talking to the city about it. So anyway, those could be additions.
And again, this is not
Right.
time sensitive or anything of that nature, as the notice says we canceled the deed sale. So
Right.
When you say time sensitive,
There is a timeline though that we're working against.
I think we talked at one point in time that judge's order last indefinitely.
no,
I mean, you thinking a couple months, 2 or 3 months?
I'll look at it and see. I mean, I haven't gone over and see when when we got the tax deed.
Should have been what, in 1st of February?
February, I think.
Something like that. Anyway,
I think so.
just thinking of that as far as the time frame.
Talks to me, email exchange on property on North 7th Street. I don't know if you're ready to talk about that or you want to wait. 25 or 7th.
Do I know about that? I don't know.
This was a property that was purchased by the city of Richmond in an arm's length transaction with the owner. And there are taxes that.
Oh, I did see that. I'm sorry.
Accrued
Yeah.
prior to the sale, and frankly, we do after the sale, and the city thought it was exempt. I explained to the township trust assessor that no, they're not. They're exempt, but that doesn't make the taxes that were on it when they acquired it go away.
Okay.
Now, there is a process that can happen, and it involves you folks.
And I think we should probably pursue that. So I'll touch base with the mayor and see what they'd like for us to do. And then we can talk to the folks that would be involved at the county and see what they would be willing to do. There are other elected officials involved other than the commissioners, would there not be? Okay. Okay, so we will we'll continue to look at that. Anything else?
As to our RFP, we might, if we recess, call over and make sure that the sheriff's department knows if something, they get something to put it in envelope, get it, let us know,
Get it to us.
I there was an ambiguity in the RFP request for proposals, and it said, I refer to the above address. Well, actually, there were two addresses. One was for the jail facilities. The most recent, the one I intended, it said the commissioners at 401,
Right.
blah, blah. That was what we intended, but given that ambiguity, if as long as one is received and we get it, I think we can waive that.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay, any questions for Ron? All right, Steve, are you ready to proceed?
Okay, looking at your project sheet, the NX generator. Last word we had, and I sent an email out yesterday to confirm this. That part was supposed to be delivered that we're waiting on this week. Have not heard back. However, I think as we should at least anticipate this project is going to come to a close sometime. Well, sometime
That would be nice.
sometime soon.
That would be better.
And remember, we had some issues during that one startup period that we alleged that we had sustained some losses. I would suggest that we can have an executive session to talk about potential litigation. And obviously the individual from DLZ needs to be here. So whatever, if you can zero in a date and time, then I'll see if that would work.
Okay. Ron, did you see that email that,
Yes.
okay, and so an executive session would be appropriate to discuss issues around that,
Among us,
Letter.
not among the adverse party,
okay,
just ours and our people, whoever we feel we need, which would be our.
But I'd like ours to be first so that we.
Sure.
Yeah.
absolutely. So we'll try to get that scheduled. Is there any kind of timeline that we need to be
48
operating?
hours. advance.
No, I'm sorry. I'm talking about getting back with the folks that we sent the letter
I'd
to.
have to look at the specs, but typically, the claim is filed, it's filed before the project was complete, so or substantial completion, so there really isn't. There will be, once the architect, who is the initial decision maker, looks at the claim and the data and makes a preliminary determination, that starts a process that can result in. First step would be negotiations through the architect. Then we would have, before we can go to final resolution, we have a mediation.
Okay.
And that mediation is the last step before mediation.
And would
We,
any of that
the critical
be-
time frame was getting the
We already met. We
Claim.
sent the letter.
Yeah.
Within a certain number of days. So is any of that in public meetings? Any of those discussions or negotiations, as you referred to them?
typically I would, no, they would not be.
But they wouldn't be an executive session either.
Well, they could, I mean,
Could be. Okay. But first step for us would be executive session with our own folks
for
to,
strategy with respect
Sure,
to
we discuss.
possibility of initiating litigation.
okay. We can do that. Steve, go back to you.
Okay, nothing new on the fairgrounds parking issue, the courthouse front entrance. So you have a sheet before you that looks like this. And
Yes.
so you're facing, that sheet's facing north. Down the lower right-hand corner is a highlighted area. This is a proposed handicap ramp, and that was not in the original bid or drawing. We didn't really think about it during the time. And what this will facilitate is that to the south of that is where the handicap parking is. And so our new ramp is that sidewalk to the left of that highlighted area. And the proposal is to put a handicap ramp there and a small curb so that no one parks on that handicap ramp. And what that will do is to keep these folks who park in these handicap spots from having to walk out around that island to the existing handicap ramp. So I really recommend that we do this. Don't have a cost yet. The contractor indicated that he would have that to me today so that we can take it to council and yourselves tonight. But I think in my mind, I recommend we do this subject to
Have
cost.
available funds.
Yeah.
Okay, and I agree. I think safety needs to be uppermost in our minds, and going clear out into the street to get around to the handicap ramp is.
I know it's been a complaint in the past, so.
Correct.
Yeah. And I don't think that's ADA compliant either, is it? Totally.
It is because it's not a street, it's a parking lot.
Okay.
So
fair.
it's not
It wasn't when it was a street.
correct.
Right.
But it
Right.
is ADA compliant, but it certainly could be safer.
Sure. Thank you.
And then timing on this now,
So, yeah, timing on this. Obviously, what I would like to happen is this gets approved tonight, and then I would tell them tomorrow morning. The contractor believe that they can do this as well as the other pour on Friday. Because we've got some inclement weather coming in. They're out there today. They've actually moved the chain link fence over a little bit so they can still do some work further closer to the door. So
but all the noisy stuff would be on Friday,
Right.
actually jackhammering, that kind of stuff. Okay.
So I really think, or at least Steve Shute thinks it'll work, that they'll get this in on Friday.
Is there any danger that they get it done Friday afternoon, evening?
Yeah, they'll
and
cut-
then the
they can
rain
cover it.
comes in
They
on.
can cover it. Yeah. I don't see that as an issue. We dealt with that before. But, so you want to motion that or you want to do that tonight?
I think we're good to just bring it to them
Okay.
tonight and
Yeah.
with a number. If it comes in at $17 million, I don't think Aaron and I are gonna vote to approve it.
Understand. Maybe 15's
Less than that.
Yeah, it's less than that.
So-
Okay.
16.9999 million. That's a different story.
Okay. And then after that, then, once they get past this weekend, if it goes as planned, then they'll move the chain link fence over and start on the front plaza portion itself and.
And then we're off to the races.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the Proxcard system, they continue to do their work and no issues have been presented. Along with that, I do have the draft of the Proxcard policy that you folks will need to consider prior to the implementation. I'll send that out to you probably later this afternoon. Remember, we have a department head and elected officials meeting next week. I'd like to send that to them.
I would like for you to send that to them.
Okay.
And send it beforehand.
Correct.
We can tentatively approve that tonight to send out.
You want to see it before tonight then?
That's a possibility.
And then
See how quickly you can get it to us after the meeting.
if it's anything like that 2010 document, I've got it ready.
He wrote it back in
It's not.
2010.
I've had this written all along. Anyway, and then after you get your input from the department heads, elected officials, then you folks can consider it.
Okay.
And then I've reached out to LWC this morning, haven't heard back yet to see if they've got a date and an estimated time to remove that debris that the elevators have.
So we don't.
I don't have a date
yet.
as of, I hope maybe I'll have one tonight. Okay. Any questions on the project?
I have one. Have you reached out or anybody reached back out to you about keys access to the courthouse for this weekend?
No. I know you reached out. Well, you said something to them.
I told him to get with you
Oh, well,
or Dale.
okay.
So-
You've not got with me.
Might check with Dale.
I'll send another reminder out today.
Yeah, because we need to get those to them.
Today or tomorrow. yeah.
Yes. So thank you. Because I know there's a couple
Sure.
who are planning on coming in this weekend, for sure.
Well,
But
if they don't.
if they don't have,
reach out to us,
if they don't have a key, they won't be able to get in, right?
Get in.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay,
Just tell them to call Steve at home.
I will. I'll give him his home and cell phone number. There we have it.
remember on the fleet safety policy, we're still got a couple little issues to resolve. Remember the one issue that we talked about the who was on the driver authorization list and whether or not the independent contractor should be on there. So I had Building Grounds go back and look past year to see if in fact our pool cars have been given out to someone other than an employee. The only ones that he found, first of all, our Maley is not on that list, and she's the contracted person with the court, so she's not on the list. The only other two that were on there that was Mike Shipman and one in the circuit court judge. So there were 3 episodes in the last year where someone other than the elected officials who are department heads and employees.
County employees and
Okay.
the prosecutor and the judges are not county employees.
I think they're state employees that, yeah, so. I guess I think I would go back to what we had originally, kind of like we're gonna do the Prox card. That the judges don't want the Prox card, that's okay, but they won't get access to the building. And so if these 2 elected officials, well, they've got to have a Prox card and.
Except during business hours.
Correct. And that's and that language is in the policy that they may display it if they want. It's their discretion. But in this case, I think we would add just prosecutor and the judges, should they want to use a pool car, they need to be on the authorized list.
And I'm not even sure.
You don't even want to do that?
Well, we need to talk about it. We need to talk to our insurance company, I think, because they're not county employees.
Mhm.
And so, can we insure them when they're not county employees?
I think we probably could. It just depends on how the terms of their policy is going to read and whether ours is primary and their personal.
You want Kim to search out that answer with,
As far as that goes, I think we can. And why I say that.
You know what? I'm thinking that we can.
Here's why. First of all, we have reserve officers at the sheriff's office who are not county employees, who are authorized to drive county vehicles. I know that's a different, but still,
More direct connection to us. They're county volunteers.
right.
and those are covered.
Right.
And so,
Okay.
my question would be the connection that seems like it might cover them is we pay them a stipend.
Right.
The
Yeah.
judges and the prosecutor.
I'm with you.
But I just want to make sure that, because all of this is for our insurance.
Right.
And to make sure that we have as limited a liability as we can, that we're covering all the bases. And to me, this is a question mark that we need to address
I'll do that.
before we build it into the policy.
Okay. And then Dakota, the employee who's moving from Soil and Water, will be moving here, and we have our space set up, desk and chair down there. They're bringing a file cabinet today. IT will be installing a computer and phone 4 weeks in.
Good.
And she's coming tomorrow to meet with me and probably Kim.
Okay,
So I think we're ready to
we'll
move.
move forward. Simona, do you know off the top of your head, have we set up a fund for recycling?
Yes, I did. It's 4013.
Okay, and so we've received an initial payment from WUR into that fund?
Oh, we have
Yes.
received it yesterday? Okay.
It is in there.
Okay, good. So tonight, we'll talk to council about appropriation of those dollars.
That in your, that been the commissioner's account?
Sorry.
That been the commissioner's account? I know it. Just want to see your answer.
Well, you heard me ask her, did you set up a separate account for recycling?
Let's see if you were thinking.
It's not that early in.
Okay.
So the money will need to be appropriated and budgeted. I drafted a budget that I sent to Councilman Ritter, and we'll hopefully have that done by the first meeting in May so that we can appropriate funds into those line items. I think the plan at this point is to continue to pay her out of the general fund budget of soil and water. There's annual salary is a line
Okay,
item
so
in soil and water.
that should, I'm gonna have Pam move her to my Kronos administrative.
You can move her to your Kronos, but you can't move her out of this.
I know, and I think,
Connection until.
I think because, you know, I have
money.
other employees paid out of multiple accounts. I think that should just move her. Shouldn't be an issue.
Okay. Good.
And then, you know, the committee we have together with EDC, gathering information for that land bank proposal. They are proposing meetings, and in your case, it would be some county official meetings on April 30th or May 1st. They don't have that. I don't have a schedule yet, but those are the 2 days that they've chosen. Don't have a time. April 30th is your 5th Wednesday meeting.
Aaron's not going to be available for either of those meetings.
Which day?
April 30th or May 1st.
That's
He'll be
correct.
out.
I'll be out.
So we'll sort through it.
Okay.
I do intend to meet that day, if for no other reason than to take care of claims.
Okay.
But we'll see. If Brad is unavailable, then I'll have to rethink that one.
I'll shoot you an email. Just, they'll probably want to know at times sooner than later. So they can make this schedule, because there's other groups that they want to meet with.
Good for them.
Okay, just trying to be,
I think those that are paying the bills have some priority on.
try to, you know,
that
try
list.
to be obliging to folks.
I always try to be obliging. You're still wound up from
I want
yesterday.
painkillers right now.
Yes, that's it.
And then,
You and I could have done that for him.
Tried.
I got a call from Mount Auburn. The town is requesting the county assist them with unsafe structures. Don't know what this entails. I think at the very least, I'll meet with their town council and get what they want, if they have any money, if they have an ordinance. Are they a contributor to the edit?
They are not. They are not. And they did not participate in help, nor are they participating in our current planning process, which they were invited to do. So if, let me know when you're planning to meet, and I may want to try to go along with you,
That might be
have a little wider discussion.
exactly. Yeah, okay. That's all I have.
Okay, any questions?
How's the partnership with Greens Fork? I know we
Good.
worked with them, everything going well
Yeah.
there. Okay.
It's been pretty low key.
I figured it would be, but
I think we've only had one.
so we're currently then working with them and everything's okay, good, perfect.
So we're doing inspections for them and issuing building permits.
Yes. And checking floodplain.
Okay,
Not much of the town is in the floodplain. There's only a couple. They've got a floodplain, but the only structures that are in it are a couple of homes on the northwest corner. everything else is,
Okay.
which is kind of surprising, but
Well, there's kind of that elevation.
I think the elevation keeps them safe, but
Yeah. So the lower level is the part that's in the floodplain, obviously right next to the river.
yeah, but there's only like two structures in the town that's in the floodplain, so it
Okay.
shouldn't present up as too much of an issue.
Okay. Good.
That's all I have.
I just, as we continue to get requests from some of the smaller towns, we need to be careful and work with council as we do this, because as we need to make sure that we have the resources that
Yeah,
we
we'd
need.
gotten one from Hagerstown a number of months ago when they were struggling to find somebody. They've since found somebody 3 times, but I know that it seems like the smaller communities and with stretched resources.
Sure.
It's tough and
Well, and it may be time to see if folks want to join together and put together a single
we
department.
had those discussions several years ago. Didn't generate much interest because they wanted to remain independent, if you will, but
But I think we pushed those discussions and now it's kind of coming back from the towns to us. So I think it would potentially be worthwhile to see where we're at, but we can't do the whole county without additional resources, certainly. So given the circumstances, the governor signed Senate Bill 1. And so over the next several weeks, we'll be finding out exactly what that means. My initial communication with Representative Barrett was that it looks like the version that passed and the governor signed will mean somewhere between a 5% and 6% reduction for the county in property tax revenue.
is that the whole county or just us?
That's us.
And
That it varies a little bit, whether it's a school system or a town or the city, but it's
similar.
it's similar, but 1% more or less can be a significant issue. So we'll see how that goes, and what alternatives are available if they become necessary. So that's all you have, but let's go back now that Mike's here. Any progress at all on the parking planning for the fairgrounds? Mike, anything you're aware of? Is Brandon looking at that? See the deer in the headlights look, so
He's like, that's not why I'm here.
I know it's not, but he is here.
He's here and I love it.
I don't know. You look at him, you may not be here.
I don't know.
Okay.
Is it?
Remember you were going, I remember I sent you that drainage plan that I know of for that area. And then I thought, as I recall, that you, and Brandon and Gordon were going to determine what drainage plan we need to have in place before you put gravel down.
I'll check with him.
Okay.
Great.
I talked with Brandon. I think we talked, Brandon wasn't here and I didn't want to speak for Brandon, so I didn't know if you guys had.
Speak for him today either? Okay.
I'll check with him, see where it stands at.
That's not a bad plan.
Good.
That's the plan.
All right. It is
It's 9:00.
9:00 by that clock. So
Over your kids.
do we have bids for the bid opening? Why don't
You want me to pop
go
them
ahead
open and then hand them
Slip
around?
those open and then we'll pass them to Ron. We don't
love it.
trust Ron with sharp objects, so.
I've been told that before.
Oh, this is for the second round of bids for the
Yes. Community crossing.
community crossings paving projects. And this is materials only, right?
Yes.
Just pull the string on that. Look at that. Pretty easily done.
Plenty of them. There you go. There you are, Ron.
So while Ron is taking a look at those, fill you guys in, Mike and I met with Sheriff Redder yesterday. We reviewed a letter from the sheriff from last fall as we purchased electronic speed limit signs as part of our ARPA programming. We've been looking at where should those go? How should we approach this? So the three of us agreed with essentially the list the sheriff submitted back then. We start following up with the towns. In one case, there's a school to make sure that they're interested in having those. And we'll work with Ron to have a letter of agreement so that our intention would be that the highway department would put those up. If they're within corporate limits, but we still need to have a permit from NDOT if they're on a state highway. And then our intention would be to give those to the towns that they're in, and the town then would be responsible for maintaining those into the future. Remember, they're solar powered, but they also have batteries that operated at night and so on. And so those batteries time to time, those kind of things. And then we also would like for the sheriff to have access to the information that's collected. Now it's essentially like a traffic count where it records how many vehicles have passed and their speeds, so that the sheriff could use that to say a lot of people exceeding the speed limit by X% in this location. And so it may be a place where we want to do increased patrolling and that kind of thing. So we're working on that, and we'll keep you posted. I'll distribute this locations again to everyone as we get confirmation from folks that they're willing to take one or two.
How many signs are there?
There are 20 signs, but typically they go in pairs.
Right.
So there are 10
locations.
locations on either side of a community, for example.
Sure.
So I'll keep you posted.
Put one up at the highway this morning
Just to
see how it goes
see how
together.
it works. Okay, good,
Try to see how it works and so forth before we go out on the road, make sure
great.
it's gonna work with our signpost and have a lock command and things like that. I know they had to get some clamps and some things that didn't come with the kits per se, but
Okay,
we're gonna kind of see what we need, and
good.
I'll be getting with NDOT and setting those locations up in state roads. And I think the first one up on Centerville Road up by town of Williamsburg is where we're gonna start. Kind of set the first two. It's not as highly traveled area with NDOT roads, and we can kind of see how it works and kind of go from there. It'd be a little quicker process than that state roads.
Yeah. Okay, good deal. Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate your help on that. Okay. What do you find? 3 bids that meet all the criteria?
That'd be the two I look for.
Okay. So the plan, Mike, then is you'll take these and you'll come back next week
Next
with recommendations on both bids? Okay, great. Thank you.
I'll make a motion. We take these bids under advisement.
I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carries. Any other questions for Mike? Do you have anything else for us?
Thing.
Okay.
We got pickup truck quote bids. So in our plan for 2025, it was to buy 2 pickup trucks.
Okay,
So we got 3 quotes.
Larkin Greenwood Ford, Greg Hubler Automotive, and then What's Automotive Group. Larkin came in at the lowest price. They're from Connersville. The price was $48,501. So that's a mistake. We're
It
going.
actually says a price for three, but it's a
Yeah,
price for two.
that's for
right?
two. I didn't change that. That was 23. We bought 3 trucks, and I just
No problem,
happened to look at that. I didn't change that
no problem.
in the thing. So it'd be for 2 pickup trucks. The lowest price is $97,002 from Larkin Greenwood Ford. So it depends on which way you want to go. You want to go with lowest or
Yeah. Uh, Did Wetzel request the buy local
no? They didn't.
option? Okay. Let's take these under advisement and we'll get back with you. Is there a time limit on their price?
Yes. Well, to order pickup trucks for 2025, the end of April is the last day.
Okay, so if we take care of this next week, that'd be
Yes.
time enough. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Do I have a motion to take these under advisement?
I'll make a motion to take these quotes under advisement.
I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All right. Thank you.
Are those on the QPA, Steve? Do you know?
Are they on QPA?
They're
Did you
not.
check?
No, you could. Yeah, I looked and there's no
I don't think,
QPA on.
I don't think there are any vehicles except for vans on QPA.
I think with the way the vehicle market is, they don't need to really give much government.
Any questions for Mike? All right, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day. Okay, Steve, you've had nothing else?
No.
Mark, you have anything for us?
The bid that Mike just got. There were 3 of them. The one name I didn't recognize, I think it was from Connersville.
Okay.
Are we waiting on a truck from them? Well, we are, from last year. And I didn't know if there was a time estimate on when you could
What
get.
truck are we waiting on?
Well, I just was talking to Linda about it and I'll find out, cause I gotta talk to Mike about it. And I didn't know if there was a time limit on how long we can wait or have to wait to get the
No.
truck.
Not if the money is available and the challenge right now is still the ordering process. This is not to receive these trucks. This is to order them.
Right,
And-
but
and
I
it could
thought we
be-
were still, I'll check with
Next
Mike.
year. It could be next year on these for all
Yeah,
we
okay,
know.
I know the health department just got a vehicle from
They got
Larkin,
it.
correct?
that's who it is.
Yeah.
It's
so-
the health
But it-
department,
Oh,
Yeah, but it was already in, yeah.
And it was a truck?
No, it was,
the car.
Yeah,
But it's in.
right.
they had it in stock and got
Right.
it.
They
so.
were waiting on a check
Do
yesterday.
you think that was it?
Okay,
Or you think there's?
No, that's it.
okay.
I'm in the
There you
wrong office.
You're supposed to, well, you're in the wrong chair. but-
Yeah, that's by design.
I didn't think we had any outstanding.
All right. You want to go ahead and take care of?
I have a few things here for us. How's that? First of all, the proclamation for the Wayne County Reed Summer 2025 set for April 28, 2025 to July 31st, 2025. I asked for a motion to approve the proclamation.
Did you make the motion or you?
I would like, yes, I'm making the motion to approve.
And I would second that motion.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? So this is for an event for Every Child Can Read
Yes,
next week.
correct.
Uh,
Next Friday.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion approving the proclamation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And we will get that signed and stamped, sealed,
Yes,
signed, sealed, and delivered.
and delivered.
Okay.
Then I have, like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Commissioners, April 9th, 2025.
You made that motion?
I did.
And I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And then I have, like to make the motion to approve following claims. MasterCard paid for 14/20/25. Federal payroll taxes and perf, dated April 17th, 2025. Dunflex garnishments dated April 17th, 2025. Payroll and fringe benefits dated April 17th, 2025. Veterans assistance dated 4/15/2025. Jury pay dated 4/15/2025. And general claims dated 4/16/2025.
I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
There's a claim in there for audits in Centerville, Abington schools.
Indeed, there is.
That I'm still not real satisfied with the answer I've received back from the state as to the size of the audit. I went ahead and presented it to you so that when I get an answer, it's almost 3 times what it was last year for the same, I think is the same audit. But I got to find out it's 30-some thousand. Last year was 7. Too big of a difference for me to just go ahead and pay it. So we're still looking. I've been told that one of my staff contacted them and they said, yeah, it's fine. It's okay. But for me, that's not an answer. They just kind of felt like they were blowing us off on it. So it's in there. You authorize it. I'll pay it. I'm going to hold it till I can get an answer. And then I don't have to wait till the next meeting to get it paid.
All right.
Senator, who is this?
It is which school? There's
Centerville, Abington.
Centerville, Abington, and there's one other audit that we're paying for.
There were 2 to it's the 30,000 to Centerville is the one I'm questioning.
I understand, but do you remember who the other one was? Was it Richmond? Richmond schools? I think they were both schools.
Yeah, it was Richmond something, sanitary or school or something, one of those. That one I don't have a problem with. It's just the size of this one compared to what we paid last time for the audit.
It could be a different audit because they're basically, there'll be the internal compliance audit and then there's the CFO audit.
Exactly.
Right.
And if it's the CFA, it could be $30,000 by itself.
Well, I don't know enough about their operations, but there are, so you can't assume that they were the same audit as last year
Right.
without seeing the audit itself. We're going online and looking at it.
So a grant that puts them over a specific total from the federal government trigger that audit. All right. As we said, we have a 10:30 schedule for opening RFPs for healthcare service for the jail. So we will, at this point, take a recess and we will come back into session to address that request for proposal.
Just think.
We're in recess.